Hi, welcome to Set Your Intention podcast with Lory Passov. With 18 years of experience running startup companies, I was at the top of my career when I hit burnout and had to reevaluate what I wanted in my life. And now I talk to successful business leaders who have basically done it all in their career, all while being parents and striving to find balance in their lives. Hello and welcome to Set Your Intention podcast with Lory Passov. Our podcast is for business leaders, for anybody in a leadership role that is also dealing with balancing life, having children, and doing it all at the same time. So today we have a very special guest. His name is Ryan Boog. He is the founder at Hoist and Happy Dog Web Production, a serial entrepreneur, and has 2 teenage sons at home. He is our first father on the podcast, so that'll be an interesting twist, and especially with teenagers too. So a couple little new things for our guests today. Really looking forward to this conversation. I would love to open it up and welcome Ryan. Thank you so much for coming. We would love to start with just learning a little bit about you.
Oh, hi. Thanks for the introduction. It's great to be here, and I guess I'm honored to be the first dad on here, and it's probably the first parent with teenagers, it sounds like, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, happy to be here, happy to chat and answer any questions that you have. But yes, I'm Ryan Boog. I'm from Minnesota, if you couldn't tell by the crazy accent.
Love it.
I run 2 businesses, Happy Dog Web Productions and Hoist. I've been doing that for the last 15 plus years. And so I've really seen it all when it comes to running your own business and entrepreneurship as well. And I've also had to balance that with the marriage and kids. And so this podcast is pretty fitting because hopefully I can offer some good seasoned advice on to help somebody who's just starting to get into things.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot there for sure. And I'd love to hear what set you on the path to become an entrepreneur.
Oh boy, it's a good question. I would have to say, honestly, it was the economy crashing in 2008. So my story is a meandering road. I'm not the stereotypical person where I went to high school, 4 years of college, jumped right into my career, and that's what I did the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Back when I went to college for visual communications technologies, that was in 2000. There wasn't much of the, website development industry back then or anything like that. So I actually worked blue collar jobs for a pretty long time. And essentially in 2008, the market really turned. I got laid off from 3 different jobs in a row just because the times are tough, the economy's tough.
Wow.
And it was at that time I'd been married for a couple of years, and we started talking about having kids. And I had this epiphany: I cannot bring kids into this world and then not be able to provide for them. And the only way I saw that happening is if I had my own business and starting my own business. So that's really what drove me to the entrepreneurship side of things. So it's a good question.
Wow, that's incredible that you did that you just decided that you needed that control, that safety, that.
Yeah. In 2008 was pretty tough. A lot of businesses lost a lot of money. So I was in a tree cutting business for 11 years. I did a lot of blue collar work for a while. Then I went to Caterpillar, the huge company, and they told me, Ryan, we haven't had a layoff since 1986. You're so safe here. And I was the first employee laid off because we just opened a new building and they just moved things around. And so they laid me off right away. And I went to another job. They laid me off right away. And then I worked in concrete after that. And they laid me off seasonally in the winter. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done with it. I want to be able to provide for my family.
Yeah.
At the time, my wife was making good enough money for us to get by. So I was able to at least just go for it. The worst case scenario, it just didn't work, but I had a little bit of a safety net there. But it's not like we were making tons of money and just rolling in it either. There was a gamble there too, but yeah, that was the impetus of it all.
And what gave you the confidence to really do it after all those layoffs?
Confidence, really. I think it was just the desire for wanting to be able to provide for my future children.
Yeah.
And that need and that desire overcame any insecurities that I had.
That's so powerful.
And also seeing how the other businesses, I watched them fail from the inside, and I realized nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
Any business can fail, any business can flop. So it could be me too, but I could also maybe reap the success. And I saw things they were doing that I didn't agree with. I saw the way
Mm.
that they ran business, and some of the things they did just didn't jive with me at all. So I figured if I did it my way, I wouldn't
Yeah.
have to deal with that. And at least if it failed, it's on me. It's not on somebody I disagreed with.
Wow. So how long did it take you to get to a point where you felt like, okay, this is successful. I'm in this now. I'm doing well.
Ooh, another good question. So, I have a colleague that was in Rotary with me. I'm part of
Mhm.
the local Rotary community,
Nice.
and I don't know why he just told me this out of the blue, but he did, and he said, "Ryan, after 5 years, you're gonna have one day you're gonna look in the mirror and you're gonna say, 'I made it.'" I said, "That's the silliest thing I've ever heard." And um, there's not really a truly defining moment where it's like, "Hey, I made it." But
Yeah.
it is true that the first few years of running a business is just grueling. It's
Mm.
really difficult. If you stick through it, you do have that epiphany moment. It did happen to me. I thought that guy was full of baloney. He's not. You'll be all of a sudden like, oh my gosh, I can actually take a vacation. It's been a
Oh,
few years I could do it. There's these little victories that you accumulate
yeah.
over the years, and then finally you can say, yeah, I made it. But it does take a few years.
Yeah. Did you find that you were at least recognizing like little things along the way?
Yes, one of the bigger things I would say is when I got my first office space. So I started
Mm.
out of my basement. I was meeting people at coffee shops. I just had my oldest son, and my wife was at work. So he was in a car seat next to me, and I'm flipping my feet, rocking the car seat as I'm typing and trying to do all these things. And then she comes home and she's asking some questions, and I got to run errands. And then eventually I figured I might be able to do this on my own in an office space. And as soon as it was a really small office space, I think of 300, 400 square feet,
Hmm.
something like that. But I had my own key. I had my own address. I could get my own mail there. I was so excited about this tiny little office space. I felt like that was another big thing. I made it. Like I've got
Yeah.
my own place. I did it. And even just the act of going to the Secretary of State for whatever state you live in, for me as Minnesota, and
Yeah.
getting that signed paper saying you officially have a business. Here you go. You run right to the bank. You get your bank account, and then that also is like, hey, I'm doing it. I'm running a business. These little victories that happen over time do add up. The office space was a big one though. That was a big win for us for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I can totally resonate with that one. When I was right out of college, I had started a business in my parents' house. And finally, it was with my brother, our first business. And we got an office and we got our first intern. And it just felt so exciting to like have a space and feel like, okay, a tangible way of showing that, okay, I'm
Yeah,
making it
Lory,
here.
you hit on something there too when you said you had your first intern and you had your first person working for you.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing here. We hired our first employee, Mike, 15, no, 14 years ago, and just the feeling of having that extra person there. I'm paying their salary. There's food on their plate because what we're
Yeah,
doing. That's a big thing. Like, hey, this isn't just I'm doing something for a hobby. Like this is a career. This
right.
is an actual business, and now I got to take care of big business things. So that first employee, like you said, Lory, it's very crucial as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you were working in your basement before that, rocking your child on the car seat. How was the balance in your life then?
So the balance of my life, it was strange. We were mid late 20s, early
Yeah,
30s, and trying to balance. We don't when you first have a child, you don't there's no instruction manual, right? And so you're
right.
asking your friends and your parents and whoever, like, how do I do this? What does this mean when they do this and when they do that?
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of confusion at first, and you just kind of have to pull through with it. So in terms of the balance,
Yeah.
um, doing this while you're young makes a lot of sense because you have a lot of energy, and
Hmm.
you can deal with if you have to wake up early with a young child, if you have to work late hours and you have to have your
Yeah.
spouse or your partner, whoever, help you out. You have the energy to work through these things, and so I think that's a big advantage as well. So I had enough energy to deal with it. There wasn't a ton of balance to be blunt and
Yeah.
honest, but I worked pretty hard at first to make sure that I could provide for my children.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing. Did you get to a point anytime in your career where you hit like burnout or just sheer exhaustion as time went on?
Yeah, oh yeah, I did. That was the big one. I would say I think that was 3.5, 4 years into it.
Hmm.
I had a month that was over 300 hours. It was probably 310, 320 hours of work in that month,
Wow.
and or in 4 weeks. And at the end of those 4 weeks, I got physically ill.
Yeah.
Like I was like thrown up and sick in the whole 9 yards. Like it was exhaustion, clinical
Yeah.
exhaustion, whatever a doctor would say you have, you have. Like it was bad. Um, and I bit off way more than I could chew. And
Yeah.
so yes, that you get ambitious right away,
Mm.
especially when you start building up those little victories.
Yeah.
And it's, oh, how big can I grow this thing? How far can I take this thing? And you've got people cheering you on, and that's all great. But yes, I did hit a burnout point. Thank goodness
Hmm.
it was a long time ago. And
Yeah.
time is one thing that I've managed very well since then. And I
Hmm.
managed very poorly before that point.
Mm. What has changed? Like what are some lessons you can give to the audience?
Um, I read a book from my previous pastor, Bob Merritt, and it was called Get Wise. And
Mm.
he had a section in there, and this analogy stuck with me that you can be similar to one of those surge protectors, the things you plug into the wall and you could plug a bunch of things in there.
Yeah.
And if you get overloaded, the whole thing just fizzles out, you
Mm.
short out, and you can't do anything at all.
Yeah.
And I realized I have a capacity. I'm not indefinite. I can't do everything all the time. And I look for the little cues as those
Mm.
things are happening. Um, if I start obsessing too much
Mm.
over something at work, if I realize it's been 2 or 3 days in a row that I've stayed late at the office, I'll make sure
Mm.
I sleep in the next day or I take off early the next day. And I've been doing
That's
that
great.
since that. But I look for those little cues, those little red flags that do
Yeah.
pop up. Because as an entrepreneur, if you're a true entrepreneur, you sometimes just want to go, 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 go.
Right.
And I learned that lesson the hard way. And I'll either schedule a vacation or a day off if I do
Mm.
have a little push for a few days. And so that's how I've dealt with it since then.
Mm. That's great. I'm so glad not that you went through that, obviously, but that you took from it what you needed and you've grown into a different
Yeah.
person from it.
And Lory, frankly, if that helps somebody that's
Yeah.
just getting into it and they're feeling burnt out, that makes it worth it. And I'm glad I
Yeah.
went through it if I can help somebody else not go through what I did because it sucked. When it was happening, it was really tough. My
Yeah.
kids saw me all beat up and all
Mm.
worn out. My wife couldn't really help me, and I'm just laying there like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
You have one of those what am I doing moments, right? And I don't want anybody to go through that. So just
Yeah.
look for those cues if that starts happening and you're working a little too much.
Yeah, for sure. What did you do, like personally, just to kind of rebuild your energy?
Well, so in Minnesota, the Lake Superior is up north a little bit, and the North Shore is beautiful. There's bluffs, and
Mm.
it's a big, awesome lake and everything like that. So I actually took some time, went up there with back then it was my in-laws and my mother and our kids, and took a couple days,
Mm.
and I brought my laptop because just in case I had to work, and because I still had to learn my lesson at that point. But then after I had unplugged for a little bit, I saw
Mm.
how recharged I got. So
Oh,
it was
amazing.
literally just time
Yeah.
off, time away, don't do anything. And it's important that it's not time, on your phone,
Hmm.
not time playing a video game or like on
Right.
social media or whatever. It's like valuable time, interpersonal connection, going on hikes, being outside. Sunlight is very underrated, things
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
to
No,
help
I
really
mean, the
recharge you.
nature aspects is so important, and getting sunshine is just so good for your mental health, for sure.
And I mean, you're in California, right? Or
Yeah. We've
you're
got a
lucky.
lot of it.
This winter's been really cloudy, and it's obviously
Mm.
it's cold in Minnesota too. So
Yeah.
if there's any hint of sunshine, you'll see people out. It could be 40 degrees, but t-shirts and shorts on, and we're just loving life. So
Oh, that's cute. Everyone just
sunshine
goes
is
outside to
so
soak it up.
yeah, we got to soak it up. But my doctor actually told me that vitamin D especially around here, is it's so rampant that we're deficient of that she prescribes it all the time to
All
people,
right,
and we
that
have to
makes
just take
complete
pills just to
sense.
keep up
Yeah.
with it because we don't get the sun.
Yeah. Even in California, for some reason, people are still super vitamin D deficient. So I can only imagine Minnesota.
Yeah, it's underrated. I'll say that much. And if you just go out in the sun for a little bit, you'll know how much it recharges you so
Yeah.
quickly. It's a wild thing.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some things you do now to take care of like your mental health and just kind of recharge? You mentioned
Um,
like being able to go on vacation once you had an employee, stuff like that.
good question. So during that whole period of work and when I had that breakdown and everything, I was under a lot of stress. And
Yeah.
running a business, and it's tremendous stress. That's why, if somebody has pie in the sky vision, oh, I can just run a business and make millions of dollars. It's like, no, 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 pump the brakes. It's not that
Yeah.
easy, and there's a lot of stress that goes with it, right? So when I was under a lot of stress, I developed chronic sleep insomnia. So I
Mhm.
wasn't sleeping fully through the night, or I'd wake up early. And if I couldn't go back to sleep, I would just go to the office at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning,
Oh,
whatever it
wow.
is, and just push through. And going through that and figuring out the actual diagnosis, getting that treated
Hmm.
and fixed, I realized how unbelievably valuable sleep is. But
Yeah.
not only for that, you've probably noticed if you've worked on a project or you've worked on something for hours on end and your gears are just turning, you can't solve this thing, you think
Hmm.
it's just impossible. You go home, you take a shower, you go to sleep, you wake up, and it's like, oh, you're driving to work. That's how it just time and sleep. Like it's unbelievable how productive they are. So
Yeah.
for me, sleep is a big thing. I have a very strict sleep regimen in terms of my circadian rhythm and make sure I get a good amount of sleep per night and quality sleep.
Oh,
I don't
good.
bring devices into bed. I don't watch TV in bed.
Hmm.
Um, it's very, but when I'm awake, I'm refreshed, and I have that energy to take on work. So for
That's
mental
great.
health and well-being, sleep I would say is number one.
Yeah.
Exercise and diet are obviously important too.
Hmm.
I'm human. I like junk food.
Yeah.
If my buddies want to have a beer, I'll have a beer with them. Things like that. But I also am not going to abuse any of those things either.
Yeah.
So health and exercise are important when I can do that. Also, if you have young kids, which I know a lot of your listeners do, that's
Yeah.
crucially important because you'll realize quick they have energy and probably a lot more than you do.
Yeah.
So the more you can build up your energy at the gym, staying active, going on walks. If you have a dog, walk the dog, whatever those things are, then you can keep up with your kids. And that's like, why is mom and dad so tired? Those type of questions don't come out as
Yeah.
much. So
Yeah,
for
for
me,
sure.
I'd say exercise and health, and fitness are important, but sleep is even more important than that.
Yeah.
That's the biggest way. And obviously, if you have time in the the wherewithal to talk with a therapist, I
Hmm.
suggest that strongly. I don't know. I have before, but
Yeah.
why would you deny yourself good self care? They're paid, and their whole goal is to make you better. So if
Absolutely.
you
And
have the resources to and you want to talk to a therapist, I recommend anybody on the planet to find a good therapist and
yeah,
talk to them, and you'd be amazed at what they can work out for your mental health as well.
I agree wholeheartedly. Like therapy is just the best thing you could do for yourself. I don't know why. I think, it had this stigma for so long. And I think in some people's minds it still does. But I feel like if you actually give it a try, you'll realize there's nothing to be afraid of here.
Yeah, I don't get the stigma thing either.
Yeah.
I people I would never look down on anybody for going through therapy, but if you're thinking about going through therapy and you think people are going to think you're a
Yeah.
weirdo or oh my
Mm.
gosh, you need help, I don't. That doesn't exist anymore. In
Yeah.
fact, you're
I
you're I
agree.
would say you're more brave or courageous or proactive for talking to a therapist versus being stubborn and possibly stupid for not talking to one, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, those are all really, really great things, especially the sleep and the working out and the therapy piece is huge. So,
Yeah.
really appreciate you bringing that up.
Well, and Lory too. If I'm a big dog guy, obviously I named my business Happy Dog Web Productions,
Right.
and having a pet around is sometimes it just melts everything else away too, and it's good for your
Huge.
mental health and peace and
Yeah.
calmness and clarity as well. Just having whatever the pet might be. It could be a cat, could be a dog, could be a fish, could be
Yeah.
my sister's got a pet rabbit named Watson.
Oh, cute. I'm a big dog
Yeah,
fan, but a rabbit sounds like a cute idea too.
yeah. I've heard of people with ducks and goats, and it just whatever floats your boat. But having a
Yeah.
pet, I think, is also a great way to diffuse what's going on in your life and get you centered again.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as far as being a parent during all of this, how did that help you be? Obviously, we know the whole story of how it helped you get into entrepreneurship, which is amazing. From there, how did it help you become the leader you are today for your business?
Ooh, oh, that's a good one. How would it be a parent help me become okay? First and foremost, I would say, and I'm sure every entrepreneur would probably say something similar, is you're immediately taught patience whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
I believe if I didn't have children and I ran a business, I could be more wound tight and strict and not as patient with my staff and even
Yeah.
with clients and whoever else is vendors and whoever else is working with us. Having children, and obviously you love them unconditionally, and you have to be patient with them.
Yeah.
And I think learning that patience and seeing them screw up, but then fix the screw up and get better, you're going to have people around you at your office that screw up, but hey, you can help guide them through it and help them get better.
Yeah.
And patience is definitely, I would say, the one thing that being a father, being a parent, that's helped me in terms of running a business or
Yeah.
growing with staff or vendors or clients even. That the patience it's a really big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. How does that change when they're teenagers?
Oh boy. Well, it's just like it's just there's always problems, right? There's always situations that arise. They're just different based on the
Yeah.
age they are. So
Yeah.
when they were younger, the situation was my oldest was running with his sippy cup and he slipped on a towel and he bumped his tooth and his tooth came out. We had to
Oh
get surgery
no.
and that was a big deal. And we thought that was the craziest thing we'd ever experienced. And then, of course, with teenagers, you got smartphones
Yeah.
and they're going off to junior high and high school.
Oh.
And who knows what their friends are telling them. And you have to navigate all the adult type things in life that are now starting to get pressed onto your children.
Yeah.
And so there's just problems that change over time based on what age they are. And it's just adapting to those as they come.
Yeah.
So the teenage ones, I would say the phone for sure is by and far, like, it's nothing even compares to it. We held out as long as we possibly could until like our oldest freshman in high school, he just starts going out with his sports and he's had a job for a year and his friends take him out. And so we need to know where he is. And it's a lot of it's for tracking. And we had a contract with him. And we've had a lot of talks with him in terms of, we want to give him the freedom,
Yeah.
the freedom to screw up, but just be aware if you screw up, there's going to be consequences because there's so much danger that can come with the phone.
Yeah.
Beyond addiction. Addiction's obviously the big one, but
Right.
if you get into the wrong place or talk to the wrong people, it's a scary thing as well. So technology, social media, and the phone is just by far, way ahead of everything else, at least in our household with most parents of teenagers that we've talked
That's
to.
what I hear constantly. And just even the bullying that's happening online and all this stuff that just sounds honestly so sad and terrifying.
Yeah, it's we didn't grow up with some of this stuff. So like the bullying and the cyberbullying, and we've heard about that for a long time, but now people are, changing screenshots and changing pictures or using AI or something like that to make people look like they're saying something that they're not or doing something that they're not and it's all uncharted territory. And so we have to be sharp and on our toes as parents as well. Otherwise, our kids are going off the deep end and we have no life jacket to throw them.
Yeah, for sure. How do you stay on top of it all?
And having a good support group, I think, helps too. We are friends with a lot of our kids' friends' parents. We get together a lot, and there's a lot of parent functions at school and at sports. You talk in the stands and stuff like that. So having a community of us together really helps because there's been a couple times where it's like, hey, I don't know if my son's doing this or not online. Have you been seeing this, or is
Yeah.
him and his friends saying this or doing that? And
Right.
it's helpful to have other parents to bounce things off of as well.
Yeah. And probably helpful for yourself just to have that support group for sure, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said earlier, there's no instruction manual. So
No.
the more the parents can work with you and validate you,
Yeah.
the better it is and the more comfortable you feel, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. So now that you've been on this path of entrepreneurship for a while, you've raised your kids and obviously you're still raising them. What would you say is like an unexpected gift of being an entrepreneur and having a family and home life?
Good one, Lory. I would say right away, an unexpected gift would be the gift of flexibility when you run your own business. So as an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, you just have to get whatever done. You don't have to get it done 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can start at noon and finish at 9 p.m. if you want.
Right.
It's the flexibility is absolutely amazing because I can take a 2-hour lunch. I could take an afternoon off and just make it up at night or whenever I want. And I don't have anybody to answer to but myself.
Yeah.
So flexibility,
Huge.
that's the way.
Yeah.
That's the one true gift of being an entrepreneur. Is yes, I can dictate all these things at work, but the most important thing is my schedule. So my kid's got a sports event, I can go to it. And
Yeah.
obviously, got to make up that time if I want to get some work done. But flexibility is definitely fun. Have you heard that from other people as well? That flexibility is probably the
Oh,
biggest thing.
100%. Yeah. I feel like it's one of the main reasons people want to do that. And just to have that, like, not only flexibility, but even the freedom, right? Just to feel like you're in charge of your own schedule of what you do and nobody's there telling you what to do and watching over you and stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like not having to answer to somebody or somebody you don't like or somebody you don't agree with.
Right.
That's another gift as well. That's one of the reasons I got into entrepreneurship because it's a control thing. I don't know, but I
Yeah,
like
you
being
get to
able
set the
to
tone.
yeah,
Yeah.
set the tone.
Well, wonderful. If you could go back kind of before kids, before everything and talk to yourself, what advice would you give?
Oh gosh. Okay. Good one. I will say if I had to go back to Mr. Ryan Boog before he started his businesses and his last 15 years of fun, I would say when you first start a business, it feels like life or death because in a way it is. If you don't push hard in the first few years of business, you're likely not going to make it. It
Yeah.
takes a lot of effort at first. It's going to feel like life or death, which is totally fine. But after 3 years, ask yourself, who runs who? Do you run your business or does your business run you?
That's such a crucial piece. And it sounds so much of why you, like, I think your slogan on LinkedIn was like to get businesses unstuck. Is that what it is?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's get businesses unstuck. And that's not more for technological reasons typically, but sometimes they just can't get out of their own way as well.
Yeah.
And an outside voice always helps with that. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you're not doing it right, you feel like your business is running you and not
Yeah.
you running your business. So if you start obsessing too much and you're just like, I got to do this, I got to do this, your business is running you. You're not running your business.
Yeah.
So in 3 years, figure out, am I in control? Am I running my business or is my business controlling everything I do? And my business runs me. That's the advice I'd give the much younger Ryan Boog.
That's wonderful. And then now, like from that, obviously, hopefully you feel like you're running your business and it's not running you. How would you define some days? How would you define success for your work life and with your kids and with your wife and your personal life as well?
Good question. I tend to think deeply at times, and so this is something that is a little bit deeper because anybody can say, yeah, when you achieve your goal, that's success. I think anybody can claim success. Anybody can make a small goal and hit that. To me, true success is succeeding when times get tough. Because times will get tough at home. Times will get tough with your newborn kids. Times will get tough with your teenagers. Times will get tough with your partner or spouse. Times will get tough when you're running a business as well.
Yeah.
When you push through that and you achieve that goal in spite of that challenge, to me, that's success, whatever that challenge is. Whether it's with your newborn baby getting through a full night's sleep, and it could take 3 months to do that. When you finally get through that full night's sleep and you wake up all scared because you're, what's going on? They haven't woke up yet. That's to me a success. Like, hey, you overcome that challenge that's been in your face for that long. This happens at work. This happens with your children, even with your significant other as well. So yes, to me, success is succeeding in spite of the challenge being in your face.
Wow. Love that. That's really just so honest and truth and full and just.
What about you? How would you define success? I'm curious what your thoughts are.
I think it's so many little pieces that get you there, like finding like the little moments throughout the day that just feel really good, the little moments of gratitude, feeling like you're just in a really good place. I mean, there's always, like you said, there's always going to be things that are really hard, but it's finding the bright side of things as much as you can. And that feels like success to me.
I like that. Because a lot of times we focus on the big things, right? And when the little thing comes in your day and you don't expect it.
Yeah.
Somebody hands you your coffee and it's got like a fun design in it. It's like, oh, okay, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Ryan. It was a pleasure talking to you today. It was so insightful to get so many different pieces of advice from you, honestly. And I really appreciate everything you told us and our listeners. So thank you so, so much.
I'm happy to help. I'm glad we talked, and I'm here for anybody. If they have any questions, find me online and hit me up.
Thank you.